Hey, this is Abe.
And this is Alexa.
Welcome back to the Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast, or GOEL.
Today we're talking about our day in Capri.
Yeah, so we originally had decided that we were going to go to Capri when we came to Sorrento. As we have said before, we were using Sorrento as our home base, and then we're going to branch out from there. But when we got to Sorrento, we started researching Capri a little bit more. We read Rick Steves' book, along with just some watching of YouTube videos and blog posts. And we were finding...
It said that, different places said, Capri is very beautiful. And that the only way to really get there is a ferry. And the ferry comes throughout the day, but it is expensive. It is about 20 or so, give or take, euros to go one way. So it would be about 40 euros for both of us individually, which actually it came out to being just under 100 euros with all the taxes and everything. But we had heard that it costs a lot of money to be there. Everything's expensive.
And also they were saying, I think you had read somewhere that the population is like 12,000 locally. And then like during the peak tourist season, which we are in right now, it swells to like 20,000 like tourists, right?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
They said, yeah, you're right. 12,000 about people live there full time. And 20,000, they said, tourists come every day. It was just a random blog post that I had found about traveling Italy. So that's quite a bit of people.
If that's correct.
Yeah,
like we didn't
correct.
We didn't fact check that.
Yeah.
But just like quick, how everyone does a quick Google search on anything.
Yeah, and they also said not only is it expensive, but it's known for rich and famous people living there, yachts and things like that. And so we weren't really sure if we wanted to go there, and we kept going back and forth.
Yeah,
we initially wanted to go. It was on our list.
Right, and then we said, no, we're not going to go because we didn't want to be part of the 20,000 tourists, if that's
true.
And then also just because of all the expenses, we're thinking basically if we get there, then what are we going to do if we're going to actually have Capri kind of be budgeted a little bit so that we're not spending a couple $100. So initially we ended up deciding the night before that we were not going to go. And then I've been waking up at 5:30 every single morning and then deciding if I want to get up or not. For some reason, my body's just decided it's going to wake up at that time, even though I usually sleep in until 10 or usually 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock at home when we're not on vacation. But anyway, we woke up at 5:30 and we're I decided we should definitely go. Alexa agreed.
Yeah.
And she bought tickets.
Yeah. So we got the tickets. I think our ferry boat boarded at 8:30. So we headed down to the marina.
And I think that was the second boat out for the day. And we were trying to follow again just to get out early to avoid the crowds.
Yeah, we were hoping that we would miss some of the people and it wouldn't be too difficult to get over there, or that there wouldn't be lines or anything like that. And so we got there. We were actually the first ones there for our ferry.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. So we kind of hung out there, and then there was a travel guy who was there.
Yeah, which we didn't really understand, or I didn't understand what he was
confused
at all.
Yeah.
We were supposed to wait near Pier 1 or, and the number 1 sign, and he was over by the number 2 sign, and he had a group of people, and you could see that there was a tourist group because they had one of their extension poles with a flag on it or a scarf or whatever, and he's over there, and he wasn't part of the tour group, but he's over there with a binder, a white binder.
And a bag.
Yeah, and so he
waves us down.
And he's
we're just saying our ferry comes to number 1, and he's like, oh, well, I'm number 2 and you're number 1. One needs to come over here.
Right.
We had no idea who he was or who he was associated with.
He didn't introduce himself at all.
Yeah, and so he kind of gave us a little bit of, it was like he was joking but gave some pushback. I don't know. It was weird.
And he really didn't want us to wait over there. He said, you wait over there, you can get injured.
Yeah, because they the boat docks right there, and I think they have to throw things up.
Right.
They have to throw a rope off the boat, and then...
But as long as you wait behind that white line, which we were, then you're fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, the end of it is we ended up getting in line and complying with him, basically, because I had questioned him again, which didn't go over well. He just ended up singling us out, and so we ended up just being quiet. But we actually got some information from him and ended up figuring out what he was or who he was.
Right, because he was trying to sell us this bus that says, like, I love Capri or something like touristy sounding. And he was like, oh, it's only like 20 euros to go here and here
per
on
person.
the bus. Yeah, per person. But as he was kind of flipping through his information and trying to sell us things, he also told us about the city bus.
Yeah, which we had no clue about. We figured there was a city bus, but didn't know what it looked like or anything.
And just so you know, the city bus is the way to go. We ended up taking it in Rome also. And it was so cheap. It was pretty easy to navigate once you were there and you knew how to get on the bus.
They actually have like a blog posting for it that'll tell you all the times, which we found as well.
Right. So we were like, yes, we're taking the city bus. It was only like
two
to 3
220
euros.
I think 220.
I think, well, we did end up paying while we were on the bus. The first time we went to Anna Capri, which is one of the towns on the island of Capri that we visited. We only went to that one town, and then we're at the marina. But we paid €290 because we paid on the bus.
Oh, gotcha. We didn't buy the ticket prior.
Right, and some people had it prior, but they were fine with us buying it on the bus there. But on the way back, it was a huge problem.
But so we ended up getting on the ferry uneventfully, and the ferry was very, very nice. It was nicer than any ferry I've been on in Washington.
Me too.
Which has only been one, but
they had like pleather or leather seats. It was really comfortable.
I heard another guy say, "Oh, this looks like almost like an aircraft, like a plane seats," which they were nicer than some plane seats I've been on actually.
You could even even was like a little cafe almost, a little place to buy like drinks and like chips and goodies while you were on there.
And the ride was really, really smooth. Like I don't think anyone got seasick from that.
And it took a little bit over 20 minutes to get to Capri from Sorrento. Yeah,
so we ended up. I was pretty worked up, honestly, over this guy that kept trying to sell us stuff and blah blah blah. You know. So anyway, I ended up doing like a 5-minute meditation and was fine after that. But we ended up getting off the ferry, and like Alexa said, we didn't buy tickets for the bus. We just bought them on prior, but we just bought them as we got on. And the bus ride, that was
really interesting. The buses, like, if you can imagine a regular city bus, like in the United States, cut it in half. And that's how big the bus is.
There were probably only, 9 to 10 seats on the thing? It's maybe. Orange, which they said, they said it's a sardine bus, I think is how he said it, but...
It was.
Was it?
Or no. It felt like a
like a can of sardines. Yeah, it was this orange bus, but Anyway, so we got on. We actually were the third and fourth ones to get on. So we got seats actually towards the back, which was nice.
Yeah, but everybody else, I mean, they pack everybody in there, so everybody who is usually first gets the seats, and then everybody else has to stand or hold onto a pole or whatever.
There were probably about 20 people on that bus.
Yeah.
15 to 20 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were smushed in there.
So the ride up was, I mean, I got to commend these drivers. They are amazing. They're, the roads are so narrow and...
Like, I thought we were going to hit another vehicle multiple times. I mean, when I tell you that, like, maybe 2 quarters could be in between these, like, little coins could be in between these 2 buses. Like, they're about to hit, and, like, it's like a hair, distance away from each other. I mean, they have to be very skilled to do this.
Yeah, and so, they got us up, and we got off at Anna Capri bus stop, and there was no one there.
Yeah, it was empty. It was beautiful. I mean, it looked very Greek inspired, like white buildings, a lot of white
with that like blue accent.
Yeah. And so there were little shops and things like that we have in Sorrento, but it was a totally different feel.
It was very laid back.
Yeah, very laid back, relaxed. We actually stopped at a little shop early on. I mean, it's been nice to eat, little pastries and things like that, but honestly, it's not very filling all the time. No. And we left so early. We didn't end up eating breakfast at our bed and breakfast. And so we kind of wanted something more substantial. So we ended up finding a little kind of panini type sandwich that was amazing. It was like an eggplant parmesan.
Yeah, the eggplant was amazing. They do so many things with eggplant here, just that I've never considered.
Yeah. And the guy was really friendly because I don't think they were open yet. But Abe was like, "Oh, are you open? And can I get this?" And the guy was like, "For you, I'll do it." So he heated it up and heated up our sandwich and cut it in half for us and was very friendly.
Yeah. So we ended up continuing walking down. We ended up finding a church down the way, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Very elaborately done. The chair, the actual chair that the priest sits in, I was blown away by that. It almost looked like a throne, if I can say that. It was like red velvet with gold armrests and gold above it, and it was a very elaborate church, like most I think churches are, or the churches that you think of in Europe or Italy. So,
but if you haven't been to Europe or Italy, it's very decorative. There's a lot of gold. There's lights. The ceiling is decorated in sometimes these elaborate paintings, and
this one had Bose speakers that you ended up noticing.
Yeah, Abe and I did a little kind of meditation while we were in there. And so we noticed these really nice Bose speakers in there. What else did we notice? I noticed that there were 2 rooms, one on the right, one on the left, and everything was pretty much painted the same color except the room on the right, which actually was dedicated to Mary.
And was painted blue.
And was painted this eggshell blue.
Yeah.
And so, it was just...
It was beautiful.
Interesting to take a look and, see what was in there. There's so much to look at.
Yeah. So we ended up continuing down, and our main thing, we had looked up a couple of things to go and see in Anna Capri. And one of them we had looked up was, I think it's called
Villa San Michel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Villa San Michel.
Something like that.
Something of that sort. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce it or say it wrong. But the views from that were amazing. Oh, my gosh.
Amazing. You can see all the boats in the water. The yachts.
The yachts
were huge. The biggest boats I've ever seen.
How many yachts do you think there were?
Of the big ones, probably five or six or so.
And that was just on one side of the island, one harbor.
Right. There were tons of smaller boats out there. Yeah. These yachts, though, had helicopter pads on them, multiple levels. They stood out.
They did. So we spent some time up there taking some photos.
There was a Sphinx there that was 3,200 years old.
That's right.
Said. There were beautiful gardens, but the views were insane.
Yeah, and it was owned by, I think, a doctor of...
Yeah, I don't know all the details.
Honestly,
of his
I didn't even know... I didn't even know what this thing was.
No, we both didn't.
It's a museum of a sort, and it's his house, or it was, his house. And it talks
about his life and everything he basically collected, it sounds like.
Right.
But we mainly
were there
went
for
there.
The views.
Yeah, for the views.
The island. And wraparound views, and it was gorgeous. And then we were going to go eat, actually, and try to find a place that was reasonably priced. Everything seemed to be almost double the price. Even I was looking at getting a cappuccino or an espresso, and it was everything was double the price.
Definitely certain things were. I think some things were about what is being charged in Sorrento right now for certain restaurants.
Yeah.
But I feel like I didn't look too closely. And the couple things that we got were not too expensive.
Maybe not double the price. I was over exaggerating, I suppose. But
some things were expensive.
They were increased. I should say. But you gotta, I guess, I was thinking about that as well while we were there. I'm like, you have, like, nothing is, like, just there. Like, everything has to be shipped in.
That's true.
I would assume, unless they're growing the fruits and veggies there. But, like, anything else, they're having to ship it from probably Sorrento or Naples or the mainland, right? So, as we were walking to look for a restaurant, Alex actually found another activity.
Oh, the chairlift?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have this really cool chairlift that basically goes up the side of like a mountain. It was like €14 round trip per person, which wasn't horrible compared to some other things around, I guess.
And it was a 10-minute ride one way.
Yeah.
It was pretty long.
Yeah, so we did that. So we each got to sit in a chair lift basically separately. And it was actually like, I feel like I did a little meditation while I was on it. Like, it was just, it's been so hot. And I feel like when we were going up the chairlift, it was like, there's this beautiful breeze and you could just see the water.
And it's silent.
It's quiet.
You can't hear the chairlift because it's all the engines at each end.
Right. And there's so many people on the chairlift.
Yeah.
But like, you can't really hear anybody. And then,
I was surprised you even got on it because you were scared of heights.
I don't always like heights. They make me nervous. Yeah. But I felt safe in it. And it was cool to like go over people's homes and like their yards and things like that and see like
I'm like, these people must hate this.
I know. I was thinking
you can see right into their houses on some of them.
I know. I saw this person like working remotely outside or whatever. I was like, he probably hates this, and they probably were opposed to it when it first was like being built because it stretches for like so long. And so anyways, it takes you up to like probably one of the highest points on Capri, if not the highest.
Probably. Real quick before we go there, I remember we saw all those advertisements. People had advertisements in their yards, like little billboards
for like olive oil and stuff, for perfume,
and like their vineyard or olive oil patch.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, it's smart. Why not? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like free advertising.
Well, I'm sure they're like, it's in our backyard, so we're gonna get something out of this,
right? I was surprised that there wasn't more trash and stuff scattered along the lift itself, like because I would have thought
people dumping things,
or even just dropping, like maybe dropping their water bottle or something like that. I
saw a hat on one of the little areas, but I didn't know if that was somebody's backyard, like somebody left that because that was their backyard.
Like, these people must find like iPhones and things like that sometimes.
They could
that were just dropped. But anyway, I digress.
So it took us all the way up to the top, and from the top you can see everything. It's just, I mean, it's literally breathtaking. Like, you can see the whole island. It's not really that big, actually. You can see across the water to some of the cities and things. I don't know which city was what, but you can see over there. They have a little place where you can eat and get some drinks and coffee and things like that. And then there are some hikes actually up there as well. Yeah,
and we ended up going down part of the hike, a small section of it, and it was really hot in the middle of the day. I wanted to do the hike because I'm a hiker, but we hadn't planned for it at all.
I did not, because I was in a dress. I was in hiking sandals, but just did not feel prepared, and it was so hot up there.
So we had a little disagreement on that. A little tiff. I really wanted to go, and Alex was like, well, you can go, but I'm going to stay up here. And I'm like, well, I probably shouldn't do that. And, we didn't plan for it, and I didn't know where the hike went.
I feel like if it was done, like, in the morning, I don't know when the chairlift starts, because that's really the only way you're getting up there,
Unless you hike up.
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe that's the way to go. It's just been getting so hot in the middle of the day.
It's so hot. And I was thinking about those people that work up there. I mean, how cool would it be to say that you work at a job where you have to take a chairlift to your job?
Right. That's cool.
But we ended up catching it back down and going back down, catching the city bus back down. And I ended up deciding to stand with my back like towards the front of the bus, and that was a total mistake. Oh my gosh, I never get like motion sickness, and I was like profusely sweating, wanted to like just barf, and I'm like, oh man.
We also didn't eat much during the day, so
That's right. There's like a little open window on the side, and there's this couple standing there. And I'm like thinking, if I have to puke, I'm gonna like,
oh my gosh,
say move and puke out the side of the bus, and then I'm like, oh man, if there's a car coming, no, that'd be horrible. Right. But anyway, I made it down regardless without puking, and ended up catching our ferry back without really any.